jet and its impact on India's Make in India mission. On point 2 is on India's war against Naxalism driven by mass surrenders. Let's take a quick look at the headlines. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi meets Zubeen Garg's family in Guwahati. Chirag Paswan and Jitan Ram Manjhi missing from BJP posters in battleground Bihar. Nitish Kumar features alongside Prime Minister Modi. Massive traffic jams at several parts of Delhi as pre-Diwali rush chokes major intersections and market routes. It's a proud moment for India's indigenous and aerial prowess. The first light combat aircraft Tejas Mk1A fighter aircraft produced at Hindustan Aeronautics Limited Nashik complex completed its maiden flight on October 17. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh formally inaugurated the LCA and HTT-40 trainer aircraft assembly complexes. Built by HAL, the LCA Mk1A is an advanced multi-role fighter jet which will replace the Indian Air Force's aging MiG-21 fleet that has been retired. Part of the Tejas program, first launched in 1980s, the advanced feature of the Mk1A include technological upgrades including enhanced combat avionics and air-to-air refueling capability.
मेरे साथियों, आज ये हिंदुस्तान एरोनॉटिक्स लिमिटेड द्वारा निर्मित लाइट कॉम्बैट एयरक्राफ्ट मार्क 1A तेजस की थर्ड प्रोडक्शन लाइन का उद्घाटन हो रहा है। इसके साथ ही HTT-40 एयरक्राफ्ट की सेकंड प्रोडक्शन लाइन का भी उद्घाटन हुआ है। इन दोनों प्रोजेक्ट्स को देश को समर्पित करते हुए मैं कहना चाहूंगा, मुझे बेहद खुशी हुई है। मैं HAL को और इस प्रोजेक्ट से जुड़े हुए हर व्यक्ति को मैं हृदय से बधाई देता हूं। और आज जब मैंने नासिक डिवीजन में तैयार किए गए सुखोई 30 LCA और HTT-40 विमानों की उड़ान देखी तो मेरा सीना गर्व से चौड़ा हो गया। उनकी उड़ान रक्षा क्षेत्र में भारत की, मैं मानता हूं, मैं इस रूप में देख रहा था, यह भारत की आत्मनिर्भरता की उड़ान है।
terms of the kind of electronics, avionics that the Tejas has, it's a 4.5 generation aircraft. It's got a very capable laser radar, EW suite, missiles and so on. So I think it's a very advanced aircraft. And the MiG-21 Bison is of course of a different vintage, and for its time it was of course a very capable aircraft, which we did also an upgrade, which was called the Bison. But I would not compare it apples to apples, because this is a generation apart and a much more capable aircraft.
Its advanced combat power is backed by a top speed of 2,200 km per hour. Tejas Mk1A comes equipped with cutting-edge radar and EW suite for superior air dominance. The indigenous arsenal is compatible with Astra missile. Mk1A is a 4.5 generation multi-role fighter jet capable of air defense, ground attack and maritime strike missions. It is made of over 64% indigenous content. The third manufacturing facility in the country at Nashik will strengthen India's Make in India defense ecosystem. The first squadron will be based at the Nal Air Force Base in Bikaner, while the Tejas Mk1A is already in production and induction ready. The Tejas Mk2 is designed as a more advanced model that is a medium weight aircraft. Tejas Mk1A is a lightweight fighter with a maximum takeoff of around 13.5 tons. This is in terms of weight. Tejas Mk2, a medium weight fighter with a maximum tonnage of 17.5. Mk1A is powered by the GE F404 IN20 engine generating 84 kN thrust. Mk2, again GE 414 engine, delivers around 98 kN thrust. In range and endurance, combat radius of around 500 km, which is Mk1A, and Mk2 extended combat radius of 1000 km. Even as the Tejas Mk1A takes to the skies, Indian Air Force continues to face delays in the jet's delivery. Set up with an investment exceeding rupees 150 crores, the Nashik plant will contribute an additional 8 aircrafts every year, raising HAL's annual Tejas production to 24 jets. However, the Indian Air Force requires a production capability of 30 to 40 jets every year to replace retiring legacy fleets. Recently, Indian Air Force Air Chief Marshal AP Singh flagged the shortage of fighter jets. Singh said that after Operation Sindoor, the Indian Air Force needs far more than its authorized 42.5 fighter squadrons. Tejas Mk1A jets were to be delivered between Feb 24 and Feb 28. Originally scheduled for the induction last year, the Mk1A program has been delayed by more than 4 quarters, primarily due to disruption in the supply of GE's F404 engines from the United States. Now let us look at the biggest reasons behind the delay in the procurement of the Tejas Mk1 variant. US engine crisis, GE closed F404 production lines in 2016, causing 18 months delay. Then Denmark's prohibition on engine charge amplifiers in September 2024. Certification issues, software integration, radar trials, missile firing tests face setbacks. Only 2 aircrafts delivered. Shortly after Operation Sindoor, India revealed its plans to expedite development of a domestic 5th generation fighter. 5th gen fighters are high on stealth, have super cruise capability, sensor fusion, network centric warfare. India's 5th generation options include acquiring Russia's Su-57, maybe F-35s of America, or indigenously developing the Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft, which is known as AMCA under the Make in India initiative. So what is a 5th generation aircraft? 5th generation aircraft is stealth designed to reduce radar cross section, advanced avionics, AESA radar and sensor fusion, sustained supersonic flight ability, network centric, electronic warfare, internal weapon base. In August, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said India will be manufacturing 5th generation fighter jets and will tie up with French aerospace company Safran for its engines. India plans to develop a 5th generation advanced medium combat aircraft or AMCA by 2035, but we have a long way to go before we catch up with China. In Pakistan, China has 300 5th generation aircrafts. China has J-20 and J-35 aircrafts. Pakistan has no operational 5th generation fighters. Pak will get 40 J-35 stealth jets from China by 2027. India's AMCA program, while ambitious, faces several critical challenges. AMCA's initial variants will rely on imported engines such as GE F414, which could compromise full indigenization and strategic autonomy. The indigenous Kaveri engine, originally intended for Tejas, has been put under development since 80s but failed to meet the thrust and reliability benchmarks. Despite recent revival efforts, including potential collaboration with Safran, the engine is still not ready for operational deployment. Let me introduce my guests, people who understand this world more than us. Group Captain Retired V.N. Jha, former Joint Director DRDO, Air Marshal V.P.S. Rana, Defence and Strategy Expert, Squadron Leader Deepti Kara, Defence and Ex-Officer IF, Indian Air Force, and Major General S.B. Asthana, Author, Director, USI, India, and former DG Infantry. Thank you all of you for joining me. I've done my best to at least give a bit of history to my viewers as to what we are talking about. So, a very quick comment from Mr. Jha. What explains this inordinate delay in strengthening the Indian Air Force?
Very good evening, Karthik. Look, aircraft is some fighter aircraft, combat aircraft I'm talking, and that too the newer generations. There is a gestation period from the time that even if you want to buy from abroad, off-the-shelf aircrafts are never available. After you place the demand, then there is a gestation period, and every component, every system, subsystem, it's a very intricate thing that I know of. I have mentioned to you, I have been involved with the LCA development here in the DRDO. I have, of course, looked at the some life support indigenous systems, subsystems into this, about 11 LRUs that I have looked into it. So there is a very intricate mechanism of a gestation period in developing or manufacturing any aircraft. Even if we wish to go for F-15, F-35, even for that, from the time that you make the case, float the tender, shortlist the aircraft, its performance, do the negotiations on the pricing, have all those parameters, paraphernalia, everything done. That will take that. In the case of Rafale, it had taken from 2007 to 2012. Those 5 years went into its shortlisting, and unfortunately, the people who were in the decision making at that time, they didn't realize the inordinate delay in taking that decision from 2012 to 2014, saying that we don't have money, and that is where we fell off the shelf. That 2.5 years made all difference. If we could have gone for the Rafale 114, 112 aircraft at that time, of course, LCA had the OEM had a problem because HAL was unable to give that certification thing. There were some system on the airframe, on the metallics. There was reluctance of the OEM to have a complete trust onto the HAL. There were issues, but at least once you take up the project, the path always opens up. If it had taken at that time, we would have been comfortable. Now, Tejas Mk1, as you mentioned, it is flying now. Look. There is a very thin difference from the ineligible 404 Kaveri engine to 404. Kaveri engine has given us a thrust of about 85 kilonauts. The requirement was 91 kilonauts. In fighter aircraft, no one wants to take a chance. That is how Kaveri didn't go into it. You never know. When this 7 kilonauts of the thrust is being given to the Kaveri Mark 1 or Kaveri Mark 2, I don't know about the things what is going inside, but they are not sitting idle. Of course, Safran is the one with which
Indian Air Force. Sir, we'll come to that. Let me flesh this out. 4 important points. General Asthana, our engines are coming from America. So my question is the level of the policy, sir. So are we really investing in the correct tech if the nature of war in India is changing? Because again, we are going for a single vendor when it is coming to engine.
I think there is a flaw as far as policy is concerned, and there is a delay as far as policy is concerned, which has landed us into a situation in which we are today. Firstly, there is no doubt America is certainly not a reliable supplier. Because the kind of delays which they have done in this engine supply has actually derailed or delayed our Tejas program considerably. And second is the case of the self-reliance, because if we keep buying engines from them, certainly there is a problem of self-reliance. But as of now, we have to choose between the all bad options. This happens to be one of the better options out of all the available bad options. That's one part of it. The second part is we are trying for the other engines as well, whether it is Saffron and whether it is improving Kaveri engine as was brought out. But in the meantime, my biggest concern, which I want to explain to all the layman viewers of yours, is we certainly need some state-of-the-art aircraft immediately. Now, when I say immediately, as Wing Commander Jha said, that if you make a decision today, it may take 4 years or 5 years. But then, if you don't make a decision today, you add that much delay further. And as far as AMCA is concerned, I am sorry, so many Air Force officers keep saying, the question is, you still cannot rely that you will get AMCA in 2035. And in the meantime, let's say hypothetically a war happens between India and Pakistan, when you are only with a superiority of 29 squadrons versus 22 squadrons, then it is all lame excuses to say, no, we will handle with the missiles and we will handle with this and with good expertise, etc., etc. A fifth generation aircraft is a fifth generation aircraft. So let's not underplay the other side, and therefore, my recommendation is we have to seriously consider buying whether it is Russian Sukhoi 57 or any other fifth generation aircraft. But some squadrons we must buy. that there should be no delay in all the indigenous programs. I fully support 100% all indigenous programs which are going. But in the meantime, we cannot take a chance. It is too strategically too risky. Back to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Air Marshal Rana, you know, Operation Sindoor tells us three things. One, the nature of warfare has completely changed. Beyond visual range warfare happened. It was an Air Force war. Drones played a very strong role. And air defense systems, they came in. Are we up to that mark, sir, right now? Because we are down to 29 squadron in terms of numbers. So the quantitative part is already there. We are half what we less than half than what we require, because Air Chief has said we need more than 42. So how does one deal with this? Because technologies are rapidly changing around the world.
Thanks, Karthik. I think you said it, and like General Asthana also said, and Group Captain also alluded to this. There is no way that we can do with such a less number of squadrons in terms of mere quantity. Forget about the generation. First of all, even the very number of the squadron itself is a real worrying factor. And then comes the capability of your adversaries when they are into almost a generation ahead in terms of the quality. Then it becomes a little worrying factor. But be that so, your specific question that when Op Sindoor threw this, because like we always say, the next war is not going to be like the yesterday's war. This war also was very different than the war that we fought earlier. And the next war is going to be even more different than what we have done right now. There are hypersonic vessels, missiles, and hypersonic glide weapons which are already on the anvil. So we are going to see a different war, and we have to be ready in terms of all this. But be that as it may, it's a very, very important day for us, like our Defense Minister said, that site, that flypast that you showed of the Su-30 alongside LCA Mk1A and HTT-40 tells a great story of the day, that we are here to move on. We are doing the best that we can, despite a lot of worrying factors that what General Asthana alluded to, or what Group Captain Jha also said, particularly in terms of the engine. Like when we talk about Safran, our MOUs with Safran and all that, actually those MOUs are related to the commercial jet engine, and actually not this. But nevertheless, that is a path that we are going, because there is quite a similarity in those jet engines, and we are creating that kind of ecosystem which will finally facilitate us to probably upgrade our the Kaveri, so to say, and so many other capabilities. But the fact is that we need to move fast. Like you also said, there are J-20s, there are J-35s. By 2030, they are expected to be more than 800 of that class of aircraft with us. So that can very well tell us that what is the worry that we have on the anvil. Okay. There are technologies we are moving ahead with, and there are. I don't agree in entirety with General Asthana that you can't do it with the tactics and you can't do with a better professionalism or a better this thing. You have to find ways and means to fight the war. I'll
come to that. I'll come to that. Let me take opening comment from Squadron Leader Deepthi Kala. My question is, we are still 60% indigenous despite this project starting in 1980s. 80s, 90s, 45 years.
Good evening, everyone. Karthikeya, see, when we talk about 1980s, we have to please understand that where are we, and we have to, and we must talk about on this channel that how many countries or how many companies are actually creating or making their own jet engines. It's only 5 in the entire world. So if in 1980s, the kind of state we had in terms of the country we were, if we even started with it, I think I salute to the country that we at least started with that thought or with a vision that we need to do it. First of all, first point, okay? Second is, it is not only about engines, Karthikeya. It's been probably 50, 60 or more than that years that since the time that the technology has come into this world, we know it's more about the metallurgy. It is more, when we talk about the jet engines, it is more about the combustion systems. It's too technical, which probably till date we have not been able to get to, and that's why probably we've gotten into the fact that we need transfer of technology from saffron, which is in future is going to help us, and we might end up becoming the sixth in the entire world to have our own jet engines in the country. So these are the two factors that we first take into consideration. Now, coming back to what we've been talking for the past 5-10 minutes, please understand, see, right now, what are we looking at? We are looking at Pakistan and China. China is something that currently, as an Air Force officer, and with all due respect to all the seniors here, we understand where are we in terms of China. We are not comparing ourselves to China right now. When it comes to Pakistan, we are 100% way ahead. Yes, I know the squadrons are down. We should have 100% taken a decision way back then when we knew at what stage our bisons are. Right? But everything is past. See, I'm a firm believer of past is history, future is mystery, live in the present. Okay? So right now, with the vision that our government, I'm not here to, take the flag of the government, but yes, as an Air Force officer, what I see, I will talk about that. So the kind of vision we have and the kind of inaugurations that we have done, this is something, yes, we need to push things.
Let me come to the point, and this question is for all my panelists, and I'll start with Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, we have cracked space technology, we have cracked cryogenic technology, we have cracked PSLV, we have cracked GSLV. It's not as if that we have not excelled in one aspect of frontier science. Then why did we fail in jet engines when we are able to crack into a market which is now only dominated by the Chinese or the Japanese or the Americans? We are pioneering there, but why couldn't we crack the engine when we can crack the space technology? That is my question.
Well, we can only speculate why we can't crack that technology. Look, GTRE, gas turbine establishment of DRDO, has been working, for the ages now. And I was giving you a prompt, a hint sort of thing, what I felt as long as I was there in the DRDO. This lab is was next to my establishment. I gave you a small hint. I don't know what is happening over and above the Kaveri project, where we got 89 kilonewtons of the thrust, and remaining 7 kilonewtons or 8 kilonewtons was the one lacking. Are they still sitting idle? I have retired about 11 years back. Are they sitting idle thereafter? I'm not sure. Is there any Kaveri 2 project online, Kaveri 3 project online? I don't know. I may not be able to tell you, or, I'll say I don't know. But they are not sitting idle. They are, very intricate exigencies or the intricacies in the engine. Look, when Kaveri engine was flight tested in Russia, this has given almost about 3,500 of the uninterrupted hours. So when it comes to the endurance, people keep on saying that it is not reliable. No, it is very, very reliable engine. Only thing is we have fallen short by about 7-8 kilonewtons of the thrust, which is not acceptable in the frontline combat aircraft. So that is where right now we are stuck. But are we sitting idle? Is DRDO sitting idle? I'm not sure.
Okay.
They are not sitting idle.
So you have given me a hint, then I have to jump to my next Prime Minister, General Asthana. Why is that? Yes. It's not as if India has not excelled. We have excelled in frontier sciences. So why are we lagging in this one component?
Certainly there is I would say, certainly this is an area of concern, and if ISRO can do what it has done,
yes,
there is no reason why HAL can't do, and therefore a criticism of HAL is well deserved in that context. Although all congratulations to HAL as far as this flight today is concerned, and I must also highlight that we have no doubts that Indian Air Force will certainly come out with flying colors in every contest whenever it happens with whatever we have, because we as soldiers, we fight with whatever we have. There is no doubt about it. But the question is, that we need to perhaps we must analyze the threat in a realistic term. The fact is that if 40 fifth generation aircrafts are getting into Pakistan in next 3 years, it's a reality.
Yes.
And that assembling line is in place.
Yes.
That is not starving for engine.
Yes.
So that is a reality on ground.
Yes.
So that I think as a strategic analyst, we have to calculate that and reality.
Absolutely.
So notwithstanding that, what you are saying is absolutely right. I am sure scientists are working. They need a little more push. Certainly, a lot of reforms have also taken place in HAL. A lot of criticism has also taken place in HAL. And I am sure people will produce that particular engine which the wing commander is mentioning about. And certainly, once we produce our engine, I think it's a very complicated metallurgy, because metallurgy of that kind which can take that thrust, that is becoming a problem, as was rightly brought out. And I'm sure we will be able to crack it. If not today,
Okay.
we may not have been lucky in this particular case.
Okay.
We were lucky in other technologies, but not in this particular
Okay,
case.
let me take closing comments from Air Marshal Rana and Squadron Leader Deepti Kala. Air Marshal Rana, my question is, okay, we have not been lucky. Maybe we have been able to crack the space sciences. We have not been able to crack the jet science. As an immediate step, what do you think the government should be doing? Do you think that Su-57 is a reasonably good option right now?
Karthik, what I know, just few days back, if you heard the Air Chief saying, he said this. He said we have to be now ready and we have to be future ready. So, and it's something what General Asthana is also saying, that we have to be now ready means that is whatever is needed right now to fight our adversaries, that you must have. And obviously, you have to be continuously pushing the envelope for your future acquisitions and your future developments. Now, coming to the Kaveri engine, it's not that we have not been able to develop it. We did, but we fell short. And that I think what Deepti also said, there are far too many. It's not just a one engine. There are far too many technologies that are part of that development. There's a metallurgy, there are other parts, there are other sciences, there are other technologies, and so for some reason, since we have not had that kind of opportunity in past, but this is under development. Saffron, we are developing along with that, and like you said, UAV and the drones are going to be future. Incidentally, this engine is going to be very, very useful.
Okay. So you are not hedging your bet on Su-57. I'm running short of time. I need to take closing comment from Squadron Leader Deepti Kala. Deepti, do you think that there should be an immediate purchase?
Karthik, a very diplomatic question you've asked, I guess.
No, it's a blunt question. I mean to say, you are not in the force. You can always have your opinion, and you can always have a frank opinion. Yes, we should not have, or we should have. I mean, so there is no third way about it.
If that being said, I think not today. I think we should have had it before. We should have purchased it before, so that we are at least safer in terms of our strategic position that we hold in terms of war. So we should have had 100%. But India's 5th generation fighter program, specifically, if I talk about the closing comments, Karthik, I would like to certainly tell the viewers that it's not about matching with China or Pakistan. It's about securing true strategic autonomy. The AMCA is more than an aircraft to us, and it's a symbol of India's technological maturity, and it signifies because you see, in the entire world, we will be the number 6th in terms of creating or having our own indigenous aircraft. So we are preparing. We are not preparing to catch up. We are preparing to lead with quality.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you all of you for joining me. My takeaway is that I think the Air Force should get what it needs. It's okay that we have kept a time frame. It's okay that we have the priority in terms of indigenizing it. But the real enemy, the real and present danger, is something which we know, and that is China. So this is all I had on 1.1. But don't go away. On 1.2, we will understand how Indian state is smashing the Naxal bastions all across central India.
Associate sponsor. Ever ready, give me power, give me red.
हम यहाँ जान पे खेल रहे हैं, तू फोन पे खेल रहा है।
अरे पापा की गाड़ी का इंश्योरेंस रिन्यू कर रहा हूँ।
बड़े शौकीन पापा है, इतनी बड़ी गाड़ी
तो एको से कराना।
क्यों?
क्योंकि जितनी बड़ी गाड़ी
एको पर उतना ज्यादा फायदा।
नहीं फटा।
अब फटी कार का एक्शन हीरो एको।
This is where it happened. It's where they went from world class
What a save!
to legendary.
One of the great classical goals!
Legends were born right here. Watch it happen again.
Harry Kane! Oh my goodness!
Der Klassiker Bayern versus Dortmund.
Look, this investment Guru tips will double your money. Just claim the offer.
Double your money from any random group. Pay attention. Promising double returns, they'll lure you in tight. Unverified groups will send fake tips overnight, emptying your pockets before you can fight. SEBI and NSE advise, consult only SEBI registered advisors and make payments only to verified accounts or UPI IDs. An investor awareness initiative by SEBI and NSE.
In a landmark development in Chhattisgarh, long battle against left-wing extremism, I would say India, 208 Naxalites laid down arms and opted for rehabilitation at a grand ceremony on Friday, marking a huge step towards restoring peace in Dandakaranya region. The recent increase in the large-scale surrender includes top leaders, guerrilla leaders like Venugopala Rao, alias Satpati. And this is not one-off. Multiple batches of Naxalites are surrendering, and this network operated deep inside Pastar. India's decades-long battle against Naxalism has finally entered into a decisive stage, and it has received remarkable, resounding success. Earlier this year, Home Minister Amit Shah reiterated that India will be free from Naxalism by 31st March 2026.
छत्तीसगढ़ के लिए और नक्सल घटना के लिए ऐतिहासिक दिन होगा जब अबुझमाड़ और उत्तर बस्तर के 208 नक्सलियों ने सरेंडर किया, जिसमें सीसीएम का मेंबर रुपेश, जिसके ऊपर 1 करोड़ का इनाम था, उसके साथ 208 लोगों ने हथियार छोड़े और 153 हथियार इन लोगों ने सरेंडर किया। 19 AK-47, 17 SLR, 23 इंसास और 1 इंसास LMG, ये मिला के इन लोगों ने कुल मिला के 153 हथियार आज छोड़े हैं। और मैं समझता हूं कि नक्सल घटना को लेकर प्रधानमंत्री जी का जो कमिटमेंट था, अमित शाह जी ने जो डेट तय कर दिया था, अब उस दिशा में संपूर्ण नक्सलवाद समाप्ति की ओर जा रहा है। और हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि मार्च 2026 जो गृह मंत्री जी ने जो समय बताया है, उसके पहले न केवल छत्तीसगढ़ से बल्कि देश से नक्सल समस्या का समाधान होने की संभावना दिख रही है।
बस्तर संभाग के अंतर्गत दंडाकारण स्पेशल जोनल कमेटी के उत्तर सब जोनल ब्यूरो का अधिकांश माओवादी कैडर, जिसमें सेंट्रल कमेटी मेंबर रूपेश, DKSLC मेंबर्स राजमन मंडावी, रनीता, धन्नू, राजू सलाम, RCM रतन, इस प्रकार कुल 210 माओवादी कैडर, टोटल 210 माओइस्ट कैडर्स ने आज हिंसा त्याग करके समाज के मुख्य धारा में शामिल होने के उद्देश्य से सामने आए थे। उन्हें समाज और हम सब ने स्वीकार किया, शासन उनको स्वीकार किया और उनका एक सामान्य जीवन जीने के लिए, एक शांतिपूर्ण जीवन जीने के लिए पुनः मार्गम, पुनर्वास से पुनर्जीवन हमारे एक पहल है। उसी के तहत उनको सभी प्रकार का सहायता उपलब्ध किया जाएगा।
Now, since the NDA government came to power in 2014, it has launched a conscious program to target left-wing extremism in the country. Through a multi-pronged strategy, the government's efforts began showing results. The number of Naxal-affected districts reduced from 126 in 2014 to 1918. 50 districts in recently and around 11 districts in 2025. So in 2021 it went around to 11, and in 2025 it went around to 11, 50 districts by 2021. Now let us look at the BJP government controlled Naxalism, how they controlled it, how they went about it. Let me take you through the detail. The first pillar of the Modi government's action plan against Naxals was to take strict, ruthless action on those who had picked up guns, particularly the top leadership. Over 10,000 Maoists surrendered between 15 and 25. Recent mass surrenders of 170 and 210 cadres in single ceremonies. More than 50% of the Central Committee has been eliminated or captured. The Maoist General Secretary killed for first time in 30 years, and hundreds of Politburo members have surrendered. Training, integration and capability building of the state police forces and the central armed police forces was done. Another strategy was to reduce security vacuum in Naxal affected districts. Forward operating bases were set up to clear the areas of Naxals. Modernized intelligence gathering with the infusion of technology including drones, satellite imaging and AI was deployed. Naxal funds and the arms supply were squeezed. Taking illegal levies and extortions from farmers was the main source of the funding. Online payment systems helped curb the outflow of money to them. To ensure Naxalites did not return to violence, development schemes were launched in the areas free of Naxal menace. Roads were built, mobile towers were set, and bank branches opened in erstwhile Red Corridor. 1,007 bank branches and 5,731 post offices and 90 of the most affected districts were opened. I am joined by Yashovardhan Azad, former Special Director IB, MP Nathaniel, former IGP CRPF, Dr. P.K. Mishra, former ADG BSF, and subsequently I'll be joined by Ram Nivas, former DGP Chhattisgarh. Let me straight away go to Mr. Azad first. Thank you so much for all of you for joining me. Sir, your opening comments on how the Red Corridor has been reduced, sir.
I think what has happened in the last 3 days is a momentous development in the area of anti-Naxalism operations. And I think for this, the greatest credit should go to the Chhattisgarh police. And Inspector General of Police Sundar Raj, who was speaking just now, is a tremendous leader. And of course, the Rapid Action Force, the Cobra of the CRPF, the DCRG. I think it's an amazing action which has been done, because the most important thing I feel is if Abujmad has been cleared, which was always a battle-hardened area for these people, and we were not able to penetrate that. When that has been smashed in the entire North Bastar has been clear, I think this is the greatest development ever since 1967.
Okay. Mr. Nathaniel, your opening comments, and the focus is, why are we succeeding now? It's not as if the attention was not being given. Why are we succeeding? Is it because some techs have enabled it, as certain wars show us that, tech enabling can do a lot of work, or there is a change in strategy, or is it about political resolve, or all of them coming together?
Of course, it's all of them coming together. Number one is, earlier we had very thin strength of forces across the LWA areas. But with the situation improving in Assam and even J&K, a lot of forces were pulled out from there and inducted into Chhattisgarh, Odisha and Jharkhand. And that meant a great change in the sense that they could open FOBs, forward of operating bases in Abujmad, which was hitherto totally cut off from the security forces. The security forces were not able to penetrate into these areas because of the because of the big strength that they had in Abujmad. Any attempt to get into those areas was met by very stiff opposition by the Maoists. But with induction of more forces, plus the construction of roads in that area, that has done that has been of great help to the forces, and the forces have been able to penetrate each and every area in that state, particularly in Chhattisgarh, because Abujmad was the main place where they were taking shelter. We were able to open FOBs over there, and because of that, the technical input was now supported by human int also. So that human int added to the intelligence that we already had, and because of the accurate information that we were getting, we were able to carry out operations incessantly with large amount of success also. And with the killing of the secretary in Thupma area, we had almost smashed their entire top leadership. 2 others were killed subsequently, and now we find that another top leader has surrendered, one in Jagdalpur and the other today in Raipur. So because of the top leadership having been vanquished, the lower ranks are now coming forward and surrendering themselves because of the very alluring resettlement program that the Chhattisgarh government has.
Okay. I'll come to you, sir. Your opening comments, Dr. Mishra, on this, as to why are we succeeding now?
Karthikeya, I can well tell you the reason for success. It's all because of the coordinated operation and the field intelligence the security forces they gathered, and particularly because of development of tribal areas and the recent rehabilitation policy of Chhattisgarh government. I can tell you the success, the real success started from Karaigara Hill operation, which continued for about 21 days, and 31 Naxalites were killed, and it followed with Basabrau's killing with 26 Naxalites. That is in fact, that broke the backbone of Naxalites, because a lot of weapons were recovered and both the leaders were killed. So then it started with the Venugopal's surrender in Gadchiroli with 61 Naxalites and with the lady Maoist also, and having all the 55 weapons. They were there at Gadchiroli when they surrendered. So then they came to know that it is very difficult to now face the security forces who are absolutely trained how to operate in their areas. Abuspar and Saranda and Dandakaranya and Bastar, it became the zone of security forces. We had more than 380 FOBs in those areas, and we entered into their areas. I can tell you, when Karaigura Hill that was smashed, they had ration for 2 years. They stocked it, and there were about 120 bunkers and the lathe machine for making arms. They all were smashed. And the best part of it, due to this, the policy of the government, Chhattisgarh government surrender policy, that in fact created a very big challenge for security forces, and they thought of surrendering and coming to mainstream. And the best part of it, just see, when Rupesh, he surrendered today, Rupesh, what statement he has given. He himself, the CNC member, is stating, yes, all of you come and surrender with the arms. And it's first it was Raju Salam in
I'll come back to you.
And then
I'll come back to this.
By Rupesh.
Okay, I'll come back to you. Mr. Azad, does Maoism has the capacity to rebound? And your own perspective, sir, why did it succeed initially? Why did it get so entrenched in these areas? Mr. Azad.
See, the very beginning of Maoism, as you see, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You see, right from the beginning, Maoism, when it actually started in its full-blown way, when it became CPI Maoist after the merging of the two, it had an amazing capability, and the forces were not well coordinated. In fact, the entire fight against the Maoists were only done by the CRPF, with the state still trying to kind of regenerate itself, trying to get in more forces, trying to get in more technology. The entire brunt was faced by the CRPF. And CRPF did an amazing job in Jharkhand when they conquered that particular hill. And gradually, these were small milestones. But let me tell you, towards the end, in the last 2 years, what has been achieved at the Maoist front has never been achieved so far because of the relentless fight and the courage of the police leaders and the policemen from the CRPF and the state forces. Yes, it's true to give the credit to the other people later, but like in Punjab, it was KPS Gill who had led the fight. In this particular case, it is entirely to the credit of the CRPF and the state police forces, which led the fight, and finally the state moved in with the kind of security support, services, rations, weekly hard, all the other kinds of services, public delivery systems which have been used. So I feel Maoism can definitely regroup. One should never say it has been wiped out or it can be wiped out. But certainly now the situation is such that it has been brought down to its knees. And the most important thing in this, Kartike, is that when the ideologues surrender, like Mishra ji mentioned, when the ideologues surrender and incidentally they give a call to the cadres to ring up on this particular number, it gives a tremendous handle to the security agencies to find out what exactly is the feeling amongst the cadres who are still out in the jungles. Are they absolutely desperate to surrender? Do they still have any kind of remaining strength in them? So, and the other important thing is when they surrender with AK-47 rifles, that is also very, very significant, because so far the Naxals were talking about, surrenders, but they were never surrendering with the big arms. Now when the, barrel launchers are being surrendered, it means that they are serious about it. And I think this is the chance to build upon.
Okay.
It can, but let us not allow them to regroup by doing all the ancillary services.
Okay, I'm also joined by Mr. Ram Nivas, former DGP Chhattisgarh. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me. Stupendous success by security forces, they've really gone for the kill. My question was, what is making our forces succeed, and do you think that India can be free of Naxalites by next year? Is that really a possibility now?
First of all of us, we should pay our homage to the Jawans and the civilians who had laid their lives. 4,000 armed forces, Jawans and the senior officers, and near about 6,000 to 7,000 civilians, they have laid their lives in Chhattisgarh to fight this menace. And particularly, as our other colleagues, they have said, the fight was going on since 2000. In Chhattisgarh, the Maoism started in 1980, and then later on it was at the peak at 2010. And then the central forces, state forces, and the state administration, central administration, and all these, the civilians and all the new, basically our local editors and the local people and the local, say, tribal leaders, they paid their attention to this menace, and then they basically fight. As CRPF, BSF, ITBP, SSB, Naga Police, Mizo Police, Chhattisgarh Police, and I should say in Bastar, the Bastar Tiger, the locals, the SPOs, we basically, the Chhattisgarh state government recruited 6,500 local people from the Bastar. That is the key for success, and that was supported by other forces, CRPF, and CRPF led their lives. Basically, they fought every battle, and they supported the state police and Chhattisgarh police. Now, only 3 districts are there. This is Sukma, Bijapur, and this Dantewada, Narayanpur, and part of Dantewada. As Mr. Azad has said, that it is not the end, though it is a 99% success, but still the disease is there, 1% is there. And then we have to be very careful that they may not regroup again, because it is a war of ideology. It is not a simply war of the weapons and the war of the area. It's the war of ideology. They have already given this document that in 2000 up to 2050, they will host the flag at Red Fort. Document is there with the government of India, with the state government, and they are moving very cautiously on that. And this may be a ploy that sometimes the withdrawal, it is a tactics, withdrawal. And it's a very good step in Chhattisgarh, but we have to be very, very careful, and we have to look after the basic administration, the real cause for which the Naxalism arose. And the fifth, say, this was the fourth type of the schedule, Naxalism in India. And we may not hope the fifth one, that is in the urban areas, in the, say, in the farmers, in the basically small towns, second grade towns and 3-tier towns, we have to be very, very careful.
Okay.
And all these states, particularly Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Telangana and Odisha, they have to be very careful about the implementation of the basic schemes of the basic administration.
Mr. Nathaniel, Chhattisgarh also saw a lot of experiments. Some worked, some didn't work. Salva Judum didn't work. Supreme Court intervened in the entire matter. But do you think that the entire areas that have been freed now can be kept like that? Or will they require intense, Mr. Nathaniel, intense movement on part, intense deployment of the security forces for some foreseeable time, sir?
According to some information that I have received, more battalions of CRPF are being pulled out from certain places and being inducted. With the induction of these battalions now, we can be quite sure that the Naxals now, they are breathing their last breath and they will not be able to survive any longer. Of course, it has to be supported by very robust intelligence input also. And with that, I am quite sure that we will be able to succeed in vanquishing Naxalism completely, not only from Chhattisgarh, but even from Jharkhand, Odisha, and Telangana, of course, is almost dead because the Greyhounds did a great job in that state, the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh. And because the Greyhounds were able to vanquish them, they then migrated toward Chhattisgarh and other places.
Okay. Mr. Mishra, if people look at it, people see the people who are part of the organization, but there is a financial infrastructure, there is a robust ideological infrastructure, then you have got ideological system in urban spaces which create legitimacy for these expressions. Do you think all those things have been taken care of, or we are just skimming at the surface? And I am not a pessimist.
No. Yes, Karthika, you are absolutely correct. It is not only at the field we are doing it. I can well tell you there is an eye. I'm telling you, if the funding was done from various places, I will tell you from Delhi and Calcutta, the funds were going. You know about, I'm very clear in mentioning JNU also. So, but in fact, the weapons also were coming from PLA and through Nepal border. So we are keeping an eye on Nepal border and also how the weapons were coming from PLA to these persons. That was also seen. I will tell you, Karthika, how the Lith machine could reach Karaiguta Hill. It's such a big machine in which they were making arms could be lifted, could be shifted to Karaiguta Hills. Something very strange. How they procured it and how they took it. And of course, it is now being seen that all this funding which was coming to them and particularly the weapons and ammunition and arms were from they were good. There is now it being kept, and I am very sure now funding is totally stopped. Weapons are not reaching them, and it is really a fact that now one of the the ex-DG, he was telling, we got the BGLs, we got the AKs, we got the the 303, we got the SLRs. All these weapons they have already they have surrendered with weapons. This shows whoever all the CMC cadre they have left, including Hidma, maybe in South Bastar they will be there, but they cannot utilize now these weapons. They are short of weapons. They are short of young persons with them. Now all these old CMC members, they cannot fight. We have to be very careful and hold on where we have already penetrated. That is Abusmar, North Bastar, South Bastar, and Dandakaranya. All these areas to be hold.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. Thank you all of you for joining me. I really ran short of time. I'm sorry, I wish we could have really had a longer and a much more deeper conversation on multiple nuances which we could have touched upon as to why this battle is being won today against the Naxalites. So this is all I had on point 2. I'll see you next week at the same time. Thank you and good night.